Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi alladhi lam yazal aliman qadiran hayyan qayyuman sami'an basira. Wassalatu wassalamu al-atamman al-akmalan ala man ursila ila kafatil khalqi bashiran wa nadhira wa da'iyan ila Allahi bi'idhnihi wa sirajan munira. Ala innahu sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam hablullahi wa ni'matuhu al-kubra. Ja'ala Allahu ta'ala lil khalaiqi ajma'ina wahira. Man i'tasama bihi faqad naja wa man khalafa anhu faqad ghawa wa lam yajid ahadan waliyan wala nasira. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa ahli baytihi abadiyan dahriyan kathiran kathira. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الأمين الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم صلاة وسلام عليك يا رسول الله. It is a great honor for myself to be present here, so I thank the management of Al-Nasiha for providing to me this opportunity to engage in the dhikr of the Awliya Kiram, namely Hazrat Ali Allahu Anhu. And this is a continuity, I understand, of the series that you have been holding in relation to the Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. So in relation to the Sahaba Kiram, it is part and parcel of the beliefs of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah that we honor, we respect all of the Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. We honor and respect all of the Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet ﷺ's family. And this respect and honor that we have for them, it is by virtue of their nisbah, their affiliation, their connection with Rasulullah ﷺ. As we are required to, as a Muslim, to respect, to honor all of the Sahaba. And as far as the Sahabiyat itself is concerned, they are all equal in terms of being a Sahabi, but in terms of excellence, in terms of nobility and greatness, there are some greater than others. And this is the Aqidah, the correct Aqidah, which is the belief exclusive to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They are the only ones, the only group which correctly believes in the Sahaba Kiram and correctly believes in the Ahl Bayt al-Tahar without any exaggeration, without any addition or deletion, which is not the same when you look at the other divisions that we have. So Hazrat Ali Karramallahu Ta'ala Wajhahu, he is undoubtedly, he has many titles, and I myself, I'm not worthy, I'm not pure enough to do the dhikr of these great personalities who are great giants, personalities and true heroes of Islam. They're not like the fictional heroes that you see on television. That is fiction, that is make-believe. These are real life, true Islamic heroes from whom we should learn from by demonstrating our love by being obedient to them. It is, just to say Ya Ali in response to a nada, it is not sufficient. But each and every one of these Sahaba, Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, he is that honorable individual who at the same time is a Sahabi Rasul as well as from the Ahlul Bayt, as well as from the Prophet ﷺ's family. So he has both of these distinguishing features. And to engage in the dhikr of these great, noble servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is indeed full of blessings, as the hadith says, عِنْدَ ذِكْرِ الصَّالِحِينَ تَنْزِلُ الرَّحْمَةِ. But where the dhikr of the salihin, the righteous, takes place, there the rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it falls upon such people. And Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, he is Imam al-Salihin. He is the Imam of the awliya, the Imam of the Sulaha, of the righteous. He is the Imam of the Muttaqeen. And these are such people who have been praised, who have been commended by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran himself. So it is a sunnah, a practice of Allah Azza wa Jal to commemorate and to talk about the excellencies, the virtues of these great special servants and heroes of Islam. Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, before I continue, I would like to share a share of Imam Ahl Sunnat in relation to the beliefs of the Ahl Sunnah, where he says that Ahl Sunnat ka hai beda par. Ahl Sunnat ka hai beda par. Why? Why does he say this? The second part of the couplet explains, Ashab-e Huzur Najm hai aur now hai Itrat Rasulullah ki. He says that the Sahaba Kiram, they are stars, because the Prophet ﷺ, he referred to them as stars. He said, Ashabi kan nujum. My Sahaba, they are like stars. فَبِأَيِّهِ مُقْتَدَيْتُمْ اِهْتَدَيْتُمْ. So whichever among them you will follow, you will be guided. So only the Ahlul Sunnah, it is that path which is the balanced path, which correctly believes in the Sahaba and which correctly believes in the nobility and the excellencies of the Ahlul Bayt. Before continuing, it is important for us to understand that there is ijma, that means an absolute consensus that these of the Sahaba Kiram, they all established a consensus, and there was a consensus of the Tabi'een and of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that these four Sahaba, from the figure of Sahaba Kiram that we have of 125,000, the excellence, the greatness that they hold, it is unparalleled, unmatched. So they are the greatest from all of the Sahaba. This is the opinion of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is the Aqidah that every believer must have. And from these four, the most superior, the one who has unlimited, absolute and complete superiority, the Fadilat-e Mutlaqa, it is exclusive to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. As we are also in the month of Jama'at al-Ukhra or Jama'at al-Thani, on the 22nd of which this great Islamic personality, the greatest after all the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal, was the greatest maqam, the greatest status from the whole ummah, from all creation of the Bashar Ba'd al-Anbiya. This is exclusive to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala an. And in order to remain a Sunni, it is paramount to have this belief, to have this conviction. Anyone who denies this belief, then he is external, he is out of the folds of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is the correct view. Although today we have people who are advocating, who are supporting a view that Hazrat Ali, it is okay to condone, they are condoning, it is okay to believe that he is more superior than Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu or than Hazrat Umar. But this is not the view of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and such a view, according to Imam Ahl Sunnah and according to all of the previous pious predecessors, they have said such a view is of the Ahlul Bid'ah, the people who are innovators. The people who are innovators and the misguided. So regardless of what these people claim to be, they are not from the folds of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So although there is a small gathering, but I would like you to, make it interactive by saying Subhanallah. Every time you say Subhanallah, a tree in Jannat will grow. In your palace, which you are going to get in Jannat, a tree will grow every time you say Subhanallah with the intention of doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Subhanallah means Allah is Pak. He is free from imperfections. That's what Subhanallah means. So you should say that repeatedly, so that I know that I'm talking to someone who is wide awake. Yeah, so it keeps me going as well. So Hazrat Ali, Karramallahu wajhahu, it is a great honor to engage in his dhikr, in his remembrance. And as I mentioned, that their dhikr, their remembrance of these noble and special servants and devotees of Allah Azza wa Jal has taken place in the Quran by Allah Azza wa Jal, with words like Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun alladhina amanu wa kanu yattaqun. So he is the Imam of awliya, and he is the Qasime Vilayat, that he is the distributor of Vilayat of Allah Azza wa Jal. And he has many titles, such as the title of it, which is his own, very own name, Ali. The name Haidar is also a name of Hazrat Ali Karramallahu wajhahu, and Karrar, which means one who repeatedly returns to attack the enemy. This is what Karrar means. Palat ke hamla karne wala. And his kunniyat, another one of his titles is Abul Hasan, as the father of Imam Hassan Mujtaba Radi Allahu Anhu. And a title that he was given by Rasulullah ﷺ is the title of Abu Turab. Abu Turab. And the word Haidar, it means lion. It means lion. And he has also the title of Asadullah, which was given to him by Rasulullah ﷺ. The title of Haidar, this was named after Hazrat Fatima bint Asad, who was the mother of Hazrat Ali Karramallahu wajhahu. She gave him this title because it was the name of her father. And he has the honor, some of these honors that he has, some of the fadail that he has, are exclusive to him. No other Sahabi Rasul shares these positions that he has. They are unique to him. Such as being the cousin brother of Rasulullah ﷺ, being the son-in-law of Rasulullah ﷺ, being the one who is the father of all of the children who are from the Al of Rasulullah ﷺ, who are the progeny of Rasulullah ﷺ, the Sadat-e Kiram, they have to have the Hazrat Ali Karramallahu wajhahu as their father, and Hazrat Sayyida Khatun-e-Jannat Sayyida Fatima Zahra Radiyallahu Ta'ala Anha as their mother. So he is the one who has this exclusive to him, that he is the one who is holding the honor of being the father of all of the Sadat. So this is exclusive to him, that he is the son-in-law and the essence of Hazur's progeny, by being the son-in-law of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. He also has the honor of being raised by Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was raised in the home of Hazrat Ali by Abu Talib, by Janabi Abu Talib. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he is the one who gave ghusl to Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu. And Hazrat Ali is the one who gave the ghusl of wafat. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, then he gave him the ghusl of wafat upon his demise. Every wali is the one who is graced by Hazrat Ali for wilayat. And the mother of Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu is the first woman from the Hashimi tribe to embrace Islam. Hazrat Ali also holds the position of being from the Ashra Mubashara, the blessed 10 who are given the news of being Jannati in this dunya. And he has been given the title of Babul Ilm, the gateway or the door to knowledge, as well as Darul Hikmah. These are also titles that he has been bestowed with. The first Caliph from the Banu Hashim. Although he is the fourth Caliph in order of, as is the order of superiority. The first most superior Muslim, as I mentioned earlier, is Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, then Hazrat Umar Farooq, then Hazrat Uthman Ghani, then Hazrat Ali Ridwanullahi alayhi ajma'in. But from the Banu Hashim, he is the first Khalifatul Muslimin. He was the first child to accept Islam at the very tender age of 8 years old. Even as a child, as he was being looked after by Rasulullah, he was distanced from the impurity and from the stains of idol worship. He was being looked after by the Prophet ﷺ, and he was adopting the beautiful character of the Prophet ﷺ, as he was the one who was nurturing him and bringing him up. And Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu, he is renowned for his in-depth and profound knowledge. The in-depth profoundness that he had of the understanding of the Quran, the understanding of the Hadith, and the understanding of Islam generally. He took part in all of the Ghazawat. Ghazawat is that battle in which the Prophet ﷺ himself took part in. All of the Ghazawat he took part in except for the Ghazwa of Tabuk. And this is because he was left by the Prophet ﷺ appointed as the Caliph in Madinatul Munawwara to look after things in the absence of the Prophet ﷺ. In relation to the appearance of Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu, it is mentioned that he was of average height, of heavy and muscular build. He had a long beard, wheatish color, and he had lots of hair on his sacred body. One thing that Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu is also known about is of his immense strength and power that Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu possessed. And there are many ahadith mubarakah that have been narrated by Hazrat Ali Radi Allahu Anhu. Many ayats in the Quran, they talk of his excellencies, of his generosity. There are many ahadith mubarakah. He is renowned for his sakhawat, for his generosity, for his valor, for his courage, for his ibadat, for his devotion in worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for his fasahat, his balaghat, his eloquence that he would have in his speeches, for his in-depth knowledge. And he is also referred to as Madhar al-Ajaib wal-Gharaib, meaning that he was associated with all sorts of miraculous things that were connected to Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu. And these are all those wonders and amazing things which have been given to him by the Prophet ﷺ. Because he is the distributor, as he says in the hadith, إِنَّمَا أَنَا قَاسِمٌ وَاللَّهُ يُعْطِي, that I am the distributor and Allah Azza wa Jal, He is the one who provides to me. The ayats of the Quran which praise Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajhu, or the ayats which you hear of all the time, نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ, where he has been referred to by the Prophet ﷺ in the words of Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran, where the Prophet ﷺ was going to engage in a mubahala, in a challenge against the Christians. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, we will call our sons and you your sons, and ourselves and you bring yourselves. And among himself, he included Hazrat Ali karamallahu wajhu, as well as Hazrat Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Radi Allahu ta'ala anhuma. At the same time, there is the other ayat of the Quran, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ رِجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, in which it is mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the extent of the purification of Hazrat Ali and the other members of the Ahlul Bayt. He said that Allah only intends to remove from you all impurities, O people of the house of Rasulullah ﷺ. and to purify you after cleansing you thoroughly. So he is also included, because when this ayat al-Karimah was revealed, yes, it is the belief, and which is the correct belief of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that all of the Azwaj Mutahharat, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, they are also included among the Ahlul Bayt, among the Prophet ﷺ's family. People who hold views contrary to this is incorrect, because there are the Jamhur Sahaba Kiram, they believe that it can refer to either, but the Ayat Karima, the Siyaq or Sabaq, the arrangement of the ayat, all the previous ayats are, just before this ayat, are talking about the Azwaj Mutahharat, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. The purity of the wives of Rasulullah is being mentioned in this ayat. And the Prophet ﷺ, according to the hadith, he called Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Sayyida Khatun Jannat Sayyida Fatima Radi Allahu Anha, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain Radi Allahu Anhuma, and he gathered them underneath a kisa, underneath a chadar, a shawl, and said, Allahumma ha'ulai ahli. Oh Allah, these are my family members. Because there is not even a shred of doubt that the wives of Rasulullah ﷺ are from the Ahlul Bayt. But in case there could have been doubt as to whether the son-in-law and the grandchildren, in order to remove any possibility, not that there is any doubt, there isn't any doubt, but by the hadith, they have been included among the Ahlul Bayt. And the Azwaj Mutahharat, they have been included among the Ahlul Bayt by the glorious Quran. So then he gathered them and said, Oh Allah, these are my Ahlul Bayt. فَأَذْهِبْ أَنُمُ الرِّجْسَ. So remove from them all impurities. وَطَهِّرْهُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. And purify them. And just as we believe in the excellences of the Ahlul Bayt, we also believe in the greatness of the Sahaba Kiram. And the Sahaba Kiram, they are also blemishless, because today we are seeing on the media, on television channels, they are being targeted. The Sahaba Kiram, their integrity, especially the Khulafai Thalatha, by some so-called Muslims, they have the audacity, the rudeness, the boldness to attack these stars of guidance who have been praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, and they have been given the title of Radi Allahu Anhum wa Radu An, that Allah is pleased with each and every one of them and they are pleased with Him. And with each and every one of them, Allah Azza wa Jalla has promised Jannat, wa kullan wa'ada Allahu al-husna. And they have been referred to as the truthful believers. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. So these noble stars of guidance, they have been referred to as stars of guidance, hidayat ke sitare. And whichever among them you follow, you will be guided. So there are people out there who have the audacity, the rudeness to attack these people. And then they think they are still Muslims. Such people, they do not have the fruit of Iman. They cannot be referred to as believers. Because what we must remember is, why do we give respect to the Sahaba? Why do we give the respect to the Ahlul Bayt? Both of these, whether they are the Sahaba Kiram, whether they are the Ahlul Bayt, it is because of their connection with Rasulullah ﷺ. And when the Prophet ﷺ got married to Sayyidina Siddiq Akbar Radiallahu Ta'ala Anhu's daughter, then he also became Garwala. He got married to Hazrat Farooq Azam's daughter. So how can these people not be the Ahlul Bayt? Hazrat Usman Ghani was married to two daughters of Rasulullah ﷺ. Hence he is referred to as Dhun Nurain, Do Noor Wale. So if he who is married to the daughters of Rasulullah can be referred to as Noor Wale, then don't you think the Prophet ﷺ, who is the essence of Noor, can he not be Noor Wala? Of course he can. So this is the beautiful belief, the correct belief, which is, flawless, which is exclusive to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So these Sahaba, and Hazrat Ali, he is also a Sahabi of Rasul, as I mentioned. He is also among the 4 Yars, also among the 4 most noble Sahaba Kiram, Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, upon which there is ijma that they are the most righteous, the most superior from the entire congregation of the Sahaba. This is exclusive to him, that he is also among those elite four as well as among the Panjatan part. So he has both of these superiorities, both of these excellencies. So when people are insulting the Sahaba, those people are automatically at the same time insulting Hazrat Ali, because he is also a Sahabi Rasul. So they fail to realize this. And these Sahaba, they are being declared as the criterion of Iman. Their Iman has been declared as the criterion of Iman. The Ma'yar Iman is the Iman of the Sahaba. And you will all undoubtedly know the definition of a Sahabi. The definition of a Sahabi is a person who was in the state of Iman, in the state of faith, and as a believer, he must have seen the Prophet ﷺ with his physical eyes, and he must have left the dunya in this state. He is a Sahabi. And if he was blind, then he must have been in the company of the Prophet ﷺ and left the dunya as Iman, as a believer. So these people, their Iman, their faith has been referred to and stipulated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the criterion of Iman. So if today our Iman, it matches with the Iman of the Sahaba, then we are true believers. Then we are true, authentic Muslims. So we must measure our Iman with the Iman of the Sahaba Kiram. Yes, in quality we cannot have the same Iman, because they saw the Prophet ﷺ. We do not have that honor. We do not have that privilege. But what this means is, we must also possess the same adab that they possessed for the Prophet ﷺ. We must also possess the same love that they possessed for Rasulullah ﷺ. We must believe in the fundamentals of faith as they believed. And not how some people are believing today, but they will respect some Sahaba and neglect others, and insult them, vilify, disparage and insult them, verbally abuse them. And we love for the sake of Allah and we hate for the sake of Allah. This is part of Iman. You cannot simply just, be a believer as you want to believe. This is not permissible. And this will open doors in which your Iman can be undermined. It will be exposed to danger. It will be exposed to becoming, contaminated and weakened. And inshallah, I will present to you proofs about this, because I believe it is very important for us. More important than our a'mal or is the Iman of every believer. And this is what Hazrat Ali Karramallahu Wajhahu also advocates. Among his talimat, he says that you should do those things which are acknowledged in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And first and foremost, our belief must be correct. We must correctly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe that Allah Azza wa Jalla is free from all imperfections. He cannot be associated with any kind of ayab, any kind of imperfection, fault. Like even the possibility of telling a lie. These beliefs are not the beliefs of the Ahlul Sunnah. They are not correct beliefs. He is free from all uyub. Munazzahun and kulli uyub. From all uyub he is munazzah, is exempt and pure from them. And all of the goodness and qualities belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ, he has been given innumerable, countless excellences. So we must correctly believe in all of the articles of Iman, in the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, in His Dhat, and in all of the other articles. We must correctly believe in the Sahaba, in the Ahlul Bayt. Honor them and love them. Because this is done for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, for the sake of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So, the ayat which says, believe as the Sahaba believed. Aminu kama aman an-nas. And here it mentions that the an-nas are the Ashabun Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That you must believe as they believed, as they demonstrated respect and honor and love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. And then in another place in Surah Al-Baqarah it is mentioned that if they believe as you have believed, as the Sahaba have believed, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا, then they are surely guided. Then they are surely guided. So this is true guidance in the view of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the belief that each and every one of us must have in relation to the articles of Iman. So why is it that we respect the Sahaba Kiram? I will just mention one or two hadiths which mention the importance of demonstrating respect of the highest amount to all of the Sahaba. Because of the Prophet ﷺ, it is his command. And in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned their purity, their unique status and maqam in the Quran has been mentioned. And in relation to the Ahlul Bayt, their purity has been mentioned in the Quran, as well as the Prophet ﷺ, he has mentioned in his hadith. I will just mention one or two, because we need to continue with the rest of the topic. He says the Prophet ﷺ is mentioned in Mishkat Sharif, Mishkatul Masabih, which is undisputed collection of hadiths, accepted by all schools of beliefs. Allah, Allah fi ashabi. The Prophet ﷺ says, fear Allah in relation to my Sahaba. La tattakhiduhum ghardan ba'di. Do not make them a target of criticism after my demise. After I leave this dunya, do not target their character. They are blemishless, they are flawless. Do not insult them. And this is generally for all of the Sahaba. Anyone who must have even spent a few minutes in the company of Rasulullah, he is unparalleled, unmatched in maqam. Even Ghausia Azam cannot reach the maqam of an ordinary Sahabi, although none of them are ordinary. But I'm talking about just the general Sahaba Kiram. One who must have even spent a few moments, did not have the time to even pray any salah, because the time of namaz may not have arrived. He may have gone into a war and died within a few minutes. But after being in the company, he cannot be leveled or reached. He is unparalleled, he is unique in his status and maqam. He says that fear Allah in relation to my Sahaba. Because فَمَنْ أَحَبَّهُمْ فَبِحُبِّي أَحَبَّهُم, that whoever loves them, it is by virtue of my love that you love them. Because of your love for Rasulullah ﷺ. And whoever begrudges them, وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَبْغَضَهُم, whoever has a grudge or hatred for the Sahaba, and this is because of the grudge and hatred he has for me, the Prophet ﷺ, he is warning us. And he says, whoever caused them any kind of distress or annoyance, وَمَنْ آذَاهُمْ فَقَدْ آذَانِي, he has ultimately caused me discomfort. وَمَنْ آذَانِي فَقَدْ آذَى اللَّهُ, and whoever has caused me discomfort, because of you, by causing them discomfort, you've caused me discomfort. Then يُوشِكُ أَنْ يَأْخُذَهُ, soon he will come under the seizure of the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So this is just one of those hadiths, and the Prophet ﷺ even says in another hadith that whoever sees anyone insulting my Sahaba, then you should say, لَعَنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى شَرِّكُمْ. The Prophet being an embodiment of mercy, he is saying that the la'nat of Allah is upon that evil. You should say that. فَقُولُوا, he encourages you to say that. And today people say, you're spreading hatred. You're spreading hatred when you do amrun bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar. The Quran says, promote good, forbid evil. So when an evil takes place, it has to be prohibited. It has to be prohibited. It has to be condemned. It has to be exposed. Otherwise, your own iman will be in danger. This is why amrun bil ma'roof is done. This is why the ulama kiram, they ask you to keep yourself away from the misguided groups, from the misguided people, and not to freely mix with them. To have that sulh-ul policy that no, you are friends with all regardless of their beliefs, this is hypocrisy. This is munafiqat. People who are advocating this is not Islam. This is not the Islam that Allah Azza wa Jal gave to the Prophet ﷺ. This is not the Islam Rasulullah ﷺ brought into this dunya. And this contradicts the Quran. This is in clear contradiction to the Quran. If you look at the Ahlul Bayt, let me mention one hadith pak where the Prophet ﷺ, he warns us, just as he warns us in relation to the Sahaba, he says أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. I remind you of Allah. I remind you, in other words, to fear Allah. Ittaqullah. In relation to my Ahl Bayt. In relation to my family members. In respecting them. In honoring them. That you must fear Allah. You must fulfill their due rights. And without the love of the Sahaba, without the love of the Ahlul Bayt, a man cannot have Iman. We cannot have faith. Our faith is not complete without the love for the Ahlul Bayt. This is also a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that Iman will not enter into the heart of a man if he does not have love for the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet ﷺ. So we honor all of the Ahlul Bayt. We honor all of the Sahaba. And it is not the aim of any servant of Deen, any scholar of Deen, to try and belittle the status of the Sahaba. No, all of the Ahlul Bayt, they are all the crowns of our head. They are the crowns of our head, and whenever we mention their statuses, whenever we mention their maqam, their status, we mention the greatness one has over the other. It is not permissible to say such a person is lower than the other person. This is not jaiz. This is haram. Likewise, we cannot say it with the prophets, that such a prophet is much lower than that prophet. This is not permissible, because the Quran says, فَضَّلْنَا بَعْدَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْدٍ, that we have excelled some over others. Likewise, some Sahaba have been given excellence over others. And to say that no, they are all alike, there is no difference in maqam, this is again a distorted view. This is not a correct view, this is against the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah. So when we say some have greater maqam and status and excellence than others, this in no way suggests that others are lower. Or we do not intend to lower their maqam or status. This is not intended. But yes, some have greater maqam than others. Like Hazrat Siddiq Akbar Radi Allahu Anhu, he is the maqam that he holds, that he has been referred to as Atqa, the most righteous and the most noble. This position, it is exclusive to him, that he is the most righteous and the most noble, the most superior Muslim after all of the prophets, meaning even more than the Ahlul Bayt, more than the Azwaj Mutahharat. Because the Prophet ﷺ says, مَا طَلَعَتِ الشَّمْسُ وَلَا غَرَبَتْ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ أَبِي بَكْرٍ إِلَّا أَن يَكُونَ نَبِيًّا. Or كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام, that the sun does not rise or set upon any person greater than Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, except for the prophets. Meaning that with the exception of the prophets, he is the most superior upon whom the sun rises and the sun sets. In another hadith it mentions that he is khayrul awwalina wal akhirin, the best since the beginning of creation till the end of creation, with the exclusion of the prophets. Illa nabiyyin wal mursalin. So this is the beautiful view of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is our aqidah, and this is to remain a Sunni believer. Each and every one of us must have this aqidah. And why do we honor the Ahlul Bayt? Because the Prophet ﷺ said that you will not become misguided. Lan tadillu. In another hadith it mentions that Ya ayyuhan nasu inni taraktu fikum, O people, I am leaving among you, that ma in akhadtum bihi, if you hold on to it, you will never become misguided. Lan tadillu. You will, so it is for the protection of our faith, for our iman. The Prophet said that you will never be misguided. And one of those two things, Kitabullahi wa itrati ahla bayti. It is the Quran, the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, the glorious Quran, and it is my family, the Ahlul Bayt. The Ahlul Bayt, and in relation to Hazrat Ali, karramallahu wajhahu, there are many ahadith mubarakah that are being mentioned. One of the hadiths which is mentioned together with his children is Man ahabbani. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever loves me and loves these two, meaning Hazrat Hasnain Karimain radiallahu anhuma, wa ummahuma, and their mother, wa abahuma, and their father, Sayyida Khatun Jannat, and Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhu, kana ma'iya fi darajati yawm al-qiyamah, he will be in my daraja on the day of judgment. Meaning that he will be in my service on the day of judgment. So this is the maqam of the Ahlul Bayt that has been mentioned in the hadith. Yes, there are many ahadith mubarakah, but I just wanted to just touch on one or two of the hadiths so we understand that we are required to honor the Ahlul Bayt as well as all of the Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. Hazrat Ali has been given that position by the Prophet ﷺ, in which when he was establishing brotherhood between the Sahaba, then Hazrat Ali, the Prophet had not given him a brother. Then he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, he was saddened, you have not made anybody my brother. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Anta akhi fi dunya wal akhirah. That is, you are my brother in this dunya and in the akhirah. This is exclusive to Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, to have that honor. And the Prophet ﷺ, in order to mention his greatness, he said that man sabba aliyan faqad sabbani, that whoever has insulted Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, then he has ultimately insulted me, meaning that he is so close to Hazrat Ali that if you have insulted him, then you have ultimately insulted the Prophet ﷺ by doing this, because we honor them, as I have mentioned, we honor all of the Sahaba and the Ahlul Bayt because of their relationship, because of the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the command of Rasulullah ﷺ in the ahadith mubarakah. So at a very young age, Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, he accepted Islam. And this was when the Prophet ﷺ, he was worshipping, he was engaged in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he saw the Prophet ﷺ engaged in salah, as well as Sayyida Tayyiba Tahira, Hazrat Khadijatul Kubra Radi Allahu Anhu, the Ummahatul Mu'mineen, the Ummul Mu'mineen, she was also engaged, and he asked them, what are you doing? And they said, we are praying salah. We are engaged in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon which when he questioned the Prophet ﷺ, responding and said, this is the deen that has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all mankind. And then he reflected over this and first he said, I will consult my father. But the next morning, without any hesitation, he came into the folds of Islam and he accepted Islam. So we are supposed to learn from these great noble personalities how to better our lives, how to become a practicing Muslim. Can you all please pay attention when I am talking, because when you are being taught about the Quran and Sunnah, about the Ahadith Mubarakas, which is extremely rude to talk, and it is an act of be'adbi to be talking when the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the dhikr of Rasulullah is taking place, or the dhikr of the awliya kiram is taking place. You should listen without dividing your attention elsewhere. And you will have heard the great hijrah that took place when the Prophet ﷺ, he migrates and he leaves Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu behind in order to distribute the possessions. He leaves them with Hazrat Ali, all the amanate, all the trusts that have been left to distribute to the kuffar. The Prophet ﷺ, he leaves them in the care of Hazrat Ali when his own life is in danger. The Prophet ﷺ, he leaves, and Hazrat Ali knowing this, but because the Prophet ﷺ, he assures him, this is the ilmul ghaib that the Prophet ﷺ, it is repeatedly seen throughout the life of the Prophet ﷺ that he has the knowledge of ghaib. And this is what the Sahaba believe. He assures him and says that no harm will come to you. You will return all the possessions to the kuffar, after which you will come to Madinatul Munawwara. Hazrat Ali, although his life was in danger as he was sleeping on the bed of Rasulullah ﷺ, and the kuffar were intent and adamant on killing the Prophet, na'udhu, but the Prophet ﷺ, he leaves him in charge of these possessions to distribute these. And Hazrat Ali says, because I was given that guarantee, that surety by the Prophet ﷺ, I knew no harm would come to me, and I slept at ease. I slept at ease, and I knew that I will be joining the Prophet ﷺ. Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, his shuja'at, his bravery, his valor, his courage,
This again, it is unparalleled. It is unmatched. And the ulama kiram have written that almost in every battle that Hazrat Ali would take part in, 1/3 of the enemy would be slaughtered by Hazrat Ali on his own, single-handedly. Single-handedly, he would slaughter 1/3 of the kuffar by himself. This was the courage that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his beloved Habib sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, had bestowed to Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu. It was seen in the Battle of Badr, where a man known as Walid, he came out into the battlefield to challenge Hazrat Ali, and he was boasting about his size, about the number of people that he had killed, and he was dancing and walking into the battlefield in this way, showing off with his size, with his strength. But as soon as he came and he encountered Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, simply with one strike of his Zulfiqar sword, which came from the heavens, that sword, with simply one strike, he reduced and destroyed the arrogance of this man and sent him to Jahannam. Similarly, in the Battle of Uhud, when the Prophet ﷺ's life was in extreme danger, and this rumor came out into the battlefield that the Prophet ﷺ, he has been martyred. Hazrat Ali, when he heard this, he could not see the Prophet ﷺ. And then he was worried that what should I do? Should I search for him among those people who have been killed, or should I search for him elsewhere? But then he could not find the Prophet ﷺ. So he thought to himself that it is better for me to simply go into the enemy and continue to fight until I become a shaheed. So he just tore into the enemy with his sword, killing these kuffar, left, right and center. Any person that was coming in front of Hazrat Ali, they were being sent to hell, they were all kuffar. But then he realizes that the Prophet ﷺ is alive, and he goes to aid the Prophet, to help the Prophet. He goes towards the Prophet ﷺ to protect him, because the kuffar was sending groups of their soldiers to attack the Prophet ﷺ, to try and, na'udhu billah, eliminate him. This was their aim. But the Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, he approached the Prophet ﷺ and he continued to beautifully, bravely and matchlessly defend the Prophet ﷺ's life. And he slaughtered many of these kuffar. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he would continue to point here and there to instruct Ali, Radi Allahu Anhu, that yeah, go for these people now, go for these. And when this was seen, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam also came into the battlefield. And he then mentioned the greatness of Hazrat Ali in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ to authenticate it even further, and said, yes, he is fighting extremely bravely and he is a man of great courage, of great shujaa. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, innahu minni wa ana minhu, that he is surely from me and I am from him. Meaning that he is so close to me, as though we are almost one. To mention the level of closeness and intimateness that they possess, the proximity in terms of love that the Prophet ﷺ had with him. And the qurb that he has with me, it is extremely rare. And then Hazrat Jibreel ﷺ said, and I am wa ana minkuma, and I am close to both of you. So this is the bravery that we see of Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, which was seen almost in every battle. And also in the battle of Khandaq, a man who was called Amr bin Abde Wud, he was the one who repeatedly challenged the Muslims to fight him. And he said that, is there no one among you who has the potential to fight me? So he would say this, Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu. He said to him that I say oath on Allah that I am going to offer you two things and you must accept one of these. And he said, one of those two things is that you accept Islam. One of these two things is that you must accept Islam, to which he declined, he refused. Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Anhu. He then said to him that, okay, then come into the battlefield and then fight me. Accept my challenge. Then when they both went into war, they both went into this battle. Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Anhu, simply with one blow, he reduced this man to nothing. Amr ibn Abd Wud was destroyed once again by Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Anhu. And then, this was always the atmosphere whenever Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Anhu would take part in any battle. As it would be as though the particles in that battlefield would be saying, Shah Marda Sher Khuda, Shah Marda Sher Yazda Quwwate Parvardigar, La Fata illa Ali, La Saifa illa Dhulfiqar. And Hazrat Ali, he has that level of courage, that he is the king of all those who are blessed with courage. And he is the lion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the lion of Allah Azza wa Jal, hence he was given the title of Asadullah. And he has been blessed with the Quwwate Parvardigar, with the strength bestowed to him by Allah Azza wa Jal. And who else can take this position, the position that has been bestowed to Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhah. And similarly, when it came to the battle of Khaybar, Sayyidina Siddiq Akbar Radi Allahu Anhu, he attempted to conquer Khaybar the first day, but he did not succeed. Then it was Hazrat Farooq Azam, he was unable to succeed as well. But this was because victory was written at the hands of Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhah. He was going to be blessed with this honor, with this privilege. And the Prophet ﷺ said that tomorrow I am going to give the banner, I am going to give the flag of honor, the standard, to that person who is the beloved of Allah and the beloved of Rasulullah ﷺ. He holds Allah Azza wa Jal as his friend, and he holds Rasulullah ﷺ as his friend, and they also hold him as their friend. The next day, the Sahaba Kiram, they eagerly came into the battlefield. They eagerly came, all wishing that maybe they are going to be blessed with this honor, with this privilege. Hazrat Ali did not attend because he was suffering from an illness of the eyes. The Prophet ﷺ asked, Ayna Ali ibn Abi Talib? Where is Ali, son of Abu Talib? And they said, he is suffering from a sickness of the eyes. Then some of the Sahaba, they helped Hazrat Ali. When the Prophet ﷺ called him, he came to the court of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is that court that whoever comes into that court, then he will not return empty-handedly. He will always be blessed, because this is the Shifa Khana that Allah Azza wa Jal has empowered. The Prophet ﷺ, as the words of the hadith say, فَبَصَقَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ فِي عَيْنَيْهِ فَبَرَعَ. That the Prophet ﷺ, he applied his miraculous saliva to the ill eyes of Hazrat Ali. And this miraculously cured his eyes. So his eyes became absolutely normal, and then this standard, this flag was given to Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhah, and then he went into the battlefield according to the instructions of Rasulullah ﷺ to challenge this man who appeared, who was known as Murahab. Hazrat Ali offered him, as he would always, to accept Islam. As this Islam is not a militant religion, it is a peaceful religion. And all the battles that the Sahaba Kiram engaged in, they were all defensive battles. The Muslims were never those people who were the starters of battle, who started the battle. So he went into the battlefield, and this man called Warahab, he came and he was saying poetry, boasting about his strength, about his name, about the number of people that he has killed. He said, قَدْ عَلِمَتْ خَيْبَرُ أَنِّي مُرَحَّبٌ. That Khaybar knows that I am murahab. Shaki silahi batalun mujarrab. That all of Khaybar know that I am murahab, and they are fully aware that I am equipped with all of the armor, and I am brave, I am experienced. Hazrat Ali, Radi Allahu Anhu, in response to his boastfulness, he said these words, أَنَا الَّذِي سَمَّتْنِي أُمِّي حَيْدَرًا. I am he whose mother has named him Haidar, meaning lion. كَلَيْتٍ غَابَاتٍ كَرِيهِ الْمَنْظَرَ. That my mother has named me a lion, and I am like that lion who lives in the forest, in the bushes, and I am extremely feared, as he is the lion of Allah, Asadullah. So naturally, the enemies of Allah are going to fear the lion of Allah. So Murahab, he arrogantly came into the battlefield. Hazrat Ali, Karamallahu Wajhahu, he struck him with one single blow and sliced his head into two, all the way up to his teeth. He split his face into two. Hazrat Ali, Karamallahu Wajhahu, he has been referred to by the Prophet ﷺ. A few more hadiths regarding his excellence, and something which is notable, which I would like to mention, is the level of adab that Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhahu had for the Prophet ﷺ. The level of obedience that he had, and the love that he had, as did all of the Sahaba. Hazrat Ali, in relation to his fadail, there are many ahadith mubarakah, and this program will fall short in doing justice, in quoting all the hadith mubarakah. But one hadith which mentions his greatness is the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, Man kuntu mawlahu fa aliyun mawlahu. That whoever I am a mawla to, Ali also is his mawla. But the word mawla, it is misconstrued and misinterpreted by people, and they say this means that he is the master of everybody whom I am a master to. This is incorrect, because the word mawla has more than 20 meanings. That meaning which will keep everything intact, which will not cause any inconsistencies in the meaning of the hadith and the Quran, in the interpretation of the maqam of the Sahaba and the Anbiya, we should take that meaning. And that meaning is that just as whoever I am a mehboob and beloved to, Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhahu, he is also a beloved and mehboob to that person. The Prophet ﷺ, he is the mehboob of all of the Anbiya Kiram, of all of the Sahaba. So Hazrat Ali is the mehboob of all of the Sahaba, he is also the beloved of all of the prophets of Allah. This is the correct interpretation. Any other interpretation, it is invalid and incorrect. The Prophet ﷺ says that حُبُّ عَلِيٍّ يَأْكُلُ الذُّنُوبَ كَمَا تَأْكُلُ النَّارُ الْحَطَبَ. That the love of Ali, it destroys sins just as fire destroys wood. And it is the sign of being a believer. The criterion of having Iman is to have the love of Hazrat Ali. And if you want to recognize somebody is a believer, then you will measure him with the love of Ali. If he loves Ali, then he is a believer. If he has both the hatred for Ali, he is a hypocrite, he is a munafiq. This is the meaning of a hadith. But this does not mean to have exaggerated love and to believe in an exaggerated maqam. No, it must always be balanced, as Islam is the balanced path, the sirat-e-mustaqim, the balanced path, the straight path. Yeah, so we don't want to be on a wobbly path. It has to be not a shaky path, but the straight path, the balanced path, the firm path, the path of firmness. So when you do mubalagha and you believe in Hazrat Ali like the Nusayri group do, they believe that he is God, na'udhu billah. Yeah, there is a group among these deviants who are known as Shias, who believe that Hazrat Ali is na'udhu billah God, and Allah has come in his form, na'udhu billah. This is blatant kufr. You cannot be a believer. So those people who believe him as number one in superiority and not number four, again they are doing mubalagha, and they are wrong. Because Hazrat Ali, you must believe as he believed. He says, I will lash that person 80 lashes who gives me superiority over the Shaykhain, over Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So if you want to be loyal to Hazrat Ali, accept his view, accept his belief. Believe as he believed. Even he didn't believe that. When his own son, Muhammad ibn Hanfiya, he asked him that, "O my beloved father, who is the most superior after the prophets?" Ayyun nasi khayr ba'da an-nabiy sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Huwa Abu Bakr." He said, "Thumma man?" He said, "Then thumma Umar." Then he said, "I fear that he might say Umar." He said, he might say Uthman. So then I rephrased the question and I said, "Thumma anta?" He said, "Khashitu ay yaqula Uthman." I fear that he might say Uthman is the third most superior after the prophets. So I said, "Are you the third?" He said, "Ma ana illa rajulun min al-muslimin." I am only a man, an ordinary man among the Muslims. This was his humility. This was his humbleness. Although it is the view, and this is the view of the Jamhur, that he is the fourth from the entire congregation of the Sahaba Ikram Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. But what I want to talk about is that Hazrat Ali, even he is against this opinion of being, sulah al-qul, because this is hypocrisy. And he says you should do that action which has qabuliyat with Allah Azza wa Jal. वो अमल इख्तियार करो जो अल्लाह के यहाँ मकबूल है. And this means that you must have a correct belief. Your beliefs must be correct. And we must do those amal which are approved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal. Hazrat Ali, his knowledge indeed, it was unique, as he was referred to as Madinatul Ilm, Aliyun Babuha. The Prophet said, "I am the city of knowledge and he is the door of knowledge." So there was a time when people would enter the city through the gate. There should be a special gate or doorway to enter into the city. So if you want to be blessed with the qurb of Rasulullah ﷺ, with his faith, then you must come through Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu. And the adab he had can be seen in this hadith, which mentions that Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu, I will not go into the details of this hadith, but this is an authentic hadith quoted by Imam Tabrani in Mu'jamul Kabir, quoted by Imam Haythami in Majma'ul Zawaid, Imam Dhahabi, Ibn Kathir in Bidayah wal Nihaya, Qadi Iyad in Shifa Sharif, Shifa Bitarif Hukm Muslah, Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti in Khasais Kubra. They have all mentioned the authenticity of this hadith, where Hazrat Ali, he sacrifices his namaz, his Salatul Asr, for the adab of Rasulullah ﷺ, because the Prophet ﷺ, he is resting in the lap of Hazrat Ali. This is the beautiful aqidah we need to take from these Sahaba, because the Prophet said, "Alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnatil khulafa'i rashidin." Binding upon you is my example and the example of the Khulafa al-Rashidun, the four caliphs. So we understand that the way they believe, we must believe as they believe, according to the verses I quoted earlier from Surah Al-Baqarah. This is the true Iman, this is the essence of Iman. And any other Iman, any other version of Iman that falls short will be not correct Iman. It must be consistent with the Iman of these Sahaba in terms of adab, in terms of love. Because today we hear people saying that if you love him too much, if you do too much adab, you have taken him to the level of God, and this is shirk. This is absolute nonsense and rubbish and against the Quran and Sunnah. Because the Sahaba did this, so this will be ultimately attacking the Iman of the Sahaba and accusing them of being mushriks, accusing them of doing shirk. When this was done in the presence of Rasulullah, in the court of Rasulullah, it was done to Rasulullah. Did he condemn it? He didn't condemn it. He approved it. He acknowledged and endorsed it. So the Prophet ﷺ, he is resting his head in the lap of Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu when the time of the Asr has elapsed. It has gone. The Prophet ﷺ, he awakens and asks Hazrat Ali, "Asallayta ya Ali, have you offered you Asr Salah?" He says, "No." The Prophet ﷺ, he lifts his hands. Those hands that have been referred to as Yadullah, the hands of Allah. Those hands, when they throw something, Allah says, "Oh beloved, you didn't throw it, I threw it." وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. When the Sahaba do bay'ah, Allah Azza wa Jal says that they have done bay'ah to me. Now, where is the shirk accusation? Are they going to say Allah is doing shirk? Na'udhu. This is what you call wobbly understanding of the Quran. Everything becomes wobbly then. The whole deen will become wobbly. And you are supposed to have unshakable belief, unwobbly belief, firm, concrete belief. I'm not attacking anybody here. I'm just using a word. So here, this belief must be correct, consistent. And look at the belief Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu had, that he sacrificed Asr Salah. with reference to which the Quran, according to one opinion, this is Salatul Wusta. And the Quran says, Hafidhu ala salawati wa salatul wusta. And the hadith says, whoever misses a salah on purpose, he has done kufr. Man taraka salata muta'ammidan faqad kafar. So who understood Islam better? Hazrat Ali, who is also a Sahabi, or the present day deviants, whose name you and I know all the time? Do they understand Islam? Or did Hazrat Ali understand Islam? Who was referred to as Babul Ilm. When the Prophet awoke, he didn't say, what have you done? He didn't criticize him. He didn't rebuke him. He didn't reprimand him. Instead, he endorsed his amal and said, إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي طَاعَتِكَ وَطَاعَةِ رَسُولِكَ فَرْدُدْ عَلَيْهِ شَمْسِ. He says, Allahumma, O Allah, he was in obedience to you and obedience to your Rasul. So make the sun return. Then the sun returned. Hazrat Asma bint Umays as-Sahabiyya, she says, I saw the sun set, then I saw it return upon the dua of Rasulullah. So, by demonstrating adab to Rasulullah, we believe, there are people today who say that if you think of the Prophet in namaz, your namaz becomes invalid, and it's worse than thinking of animals. That is kufr to say that. Those people have no iman, they have no faith, who hold such beliefs. We believe that a person out of the adab of Rasulullah, if he sacrifices a namaz which is ada, then even the qaza will become ada. A qaza namaz became ada through the dua of Rasulullah because of the adab that he showed, that he demonstrated to Rasulullah. He did not want to cause the slightest disturbance to Hazrat Rasulullah. Hence Allah Azza wa Jal approved it and made the sun return. And this is what Imam Ahl Sunnat, Imam Ishq wa Muhabbat, Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat, Mujaddid Deen wa Millat, he mentions alayhi rahma wa ridwan in his poetry when he says, Mawla Ali ne waar di teri neend par namaz. That Hazrat Ali is him who sacrificed for your sleep, which is for comfort. But wahi, Rasulullah was receiving wahi at that time, during his sleep, because even his sleep is not like our sleep. When they sleep, then this is their Mi'raj Manami, that even in their sleep they are engaged in elevation, in a Mi'raj. Wahi is being received. It is not like our sleep. Their wuzu is not affected because their eyes sleep but their heart remains awake. So Mawla Ali ne wardi teri neend par namaz. वो भी असर सबसे जो आला खतर की है. So this was Hazrat Ali sacrificing his namaz for the comfort of Rasulullah. And Hazrat Siddiq Akbar, he sacrificed in the cave of Thor his life. And then he says in that poetry, in the next couplet, Siddiq balke ghar mein ja us pe de chuke, aur hifze ja to ja furoze ghurar ki hai. And Siddiq Akbar, he sacrificed his life on the comfort of Rasulullah in the cave of Thor. And to protect your life, it is one of the greatest obligations, when even eating a piece of haram food will become halal in order to save your life. This is what Ala Hazrat means here. Or hifze jaan to jaan furoze ghurar ki, he says, haan tune unko jaan unhe bher di namaz. Yes, you returned and restored the life of Siddiq Akbar, and you made the sun return for Hazrat Ali. पर वो तो कर चुके थे जो करनी बशर की है, but they had done what a bashar could do. And then he says, which is something which could be written in gold, what Allah Hazrat says here, and he provides us with the beautiful aqidah, what every Muslim, Sunni Muslim possesses, or the only truthful Muslims on the globe of the earth. He says, sabit hua, jumla faraiz furu' hain. This establishes that all of the fara'id, all of the obligations, whether they are of worship or any other action, they are all secondary compared to this. Aslul usul bandagi ustajwar ki hai. The root of all obligations, the essence of all worship, the crux, nucleus of one's iman is adab Mustafa. It is the respect of Rasulullah ﷺ, and it was this respect, it was this disrespect that the shaitan did, which reduced him from a hero to zero. He was Ustazul Malaika and he became Aba Wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. Because he disrespected a Nabi, the Noor which was present in the forehead of Adam alayhi salam. When he failed to demonstrate honor to Adam alayhi salam, he was rendered a kafir, a non-believer, an infidel. Which means that disrespect of the prophets is the root of all infidelities. So, this is the beautiful aqidah that we should take from Hazrat Ali. What are we supposed to learn? First and foremost, to have the greatest amount of adab for the Prophet ﷺ, and for even greater than the adab of Rasulullah, adab for Allah Azza wa Jal. And let me share with you another level of adab that Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu had for Rasulullah ﷺ. This was at the time when the peace treaty of Hudaybiyah was being arranged. And a non-believer known as Suhail ibn Amr, he approached the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ was drafting an agreement and he began this with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and he said, stop. Say Bismillahumma. Write someone whom you believe and we believe in. We believe that God is Allahumma. Write that and don't write Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then the Prophet ﷺ wrote his name, Muhammadur Rasulullah, that this is from the messenger of Allah who is Muhammad. He disputed and said, Wallah, that if we believed in you as the messenger of Allah, there would be no dispute. So you must rub this out. The Prophet ﷺ instructed Hazrat Ali to rub out Muhammadur Rasulullah. Who could be more obedient to the Prophet ﷺ than Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu? But he refused. He declined to rub out Muhammadur Rasulullah. He refused to be obedient to this command that was given to him by the Prophet ﷺ. This is not because he was being disobedient, because this is that level of ishq and adab that he was on. That stage of ishq, that stage of love and respect and honor that he had for the Prophet ﷺ in his heart, that where the ashiq will refuse out of love to even fulfill this command of his beloved. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is one thing I can never do. I will never rub out Muhammadur Rasulullah. Because my adab, my love for you will not allow me to fulfill this command of yours. This was that level which only the Ushaq-e Kiram, those people who are ashiqs, can understand. These are the imam of the ashiqeen. These four caliphs, they were the imam. And Siddiq Akbar, he was the Ashiq Akbar. He was an embodiment of Sidq Wafa. From head to toe of Sidq, of sincerity, of ikhlas, of honesty, of faithfulness and loyalty. And this is what Siddiq means. Siddiq means from whom Sidq, sincerity, loyalty, faithfulness is inseparable. You cannot separate the virtue, the quality and attribute of Sidq from Siddiq Akbar. He was the Imam of the Siddiqeen, the Imam of the Ashiqeen, the Imam of the Muttaqeen and the Salihin. This is the maqam of these great people. So this was that level of adab, that when they reach this level, then the true lover out of respect, he will reject the command of the beloved. But Ya Rasulullah, I shall never erase your name. And the Prophet ﷺ, he rubbed it out himself. He rubbed it out himself. So this is that level. And these people, they say to us, they have advised us. Let me give you an example. Because brothers have requested me that there is this disease present in Sheffield, unfortunately, where people, they just brush the dirt under the carpet and they say, no, we're all believers. You know, deen, it is not something which is we have inherited from our father. Ye baap ki miras nahi hai. Deen is, the true deen is what Allah Azza wa Jal has given to Rasulullah alayhi wasallam, what the Prophet alayhi wasallam has brought to us. At-tasdeequ ma ja'a bihi Nabi alayhi wasallam. That is what deen is. And deen says, enjoin good, forbid evil. Amrun bil ma'roof, nahyun anil munkar. And the ayat says there should be among you a nation, a group that promotes good and forbids evil. And they are the successful people. They are not spreaders of hate. The Quran says, وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. They are successful in dunya and akhirah, who condemn, who expose the deviants, and say they are not true believers. Because the Prophet said, my ummah will divide into 73 divisions, all of whom will go into the hellfire except one. And he said, the path of salvation is the one I am upon, and my sahaba, ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. And this is exclusive to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Yeah, and in the Asian subcontinent, the ones who are following Imam Ahmad Raza Khan, Fadil Muhaddis al-Barelvi, they are the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is exclusive to them. This is the only correct path. The only path which correctly believes in Allah Azza wa Jal, correctly believes in Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, who correctly believe in the Sahaba Kiram, respects all and each and every one of them, who correctly believes in the Ahlul Bayt, does not insult any of them, does not exaggerate in belief about them, does not say that they are ma'soomeen because they are not ma'soom, they are mahfood. They correctly believe in the awliya kiram. And they promote good and forbid evil. Because the Quran says that do not sit in their company. Why? Not because it wants to promote hatred. The Quran doesn't promote hatred, but to protect your iman. For the protection and preservation of your iman, the Quran says that if the shaitan has caused you to forget, وَإِمَّا يُنْسِيَنَّكَ الشَّيْطَانِ Surah Al-An'am reference, فَلَا تَقْعُدْ Then do not sit بَعْدَ الذِّكْرَى After remembering مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ With those people who are misguided. And they have been referred to as the dogs of the hellfire in the hadith by the Prophet, not by me. The Prophet said it. Kilabu ahlin nar, the Ahlul Bidah. And any other version of Ahlul Bidah. Another ayat, do not be inclined to those people. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِذَا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ If you be inclined towards them in mahabbah, in love, then the fire of hell will also touch you. The Prophet ﷺ would say, he would encourage, just as a doctor says to you, keep away from certain foods, otherwise your body will become damaged. Here your iman is going to be damaged. Your iman will be undermined and weakened. If you associate with them, they will rob you of your iman. Then people come to us all the time, they're ringing us up on television saying, Hazrat, this is happening, Maulana Sahib, this is happening. Can you answer this question? Did the Prophet, can he help us? Is it shirk? Yeah? Is it shirk to ask help? And so on and so forth. Yeah? Is he Hadir or Nadir? Is he Noor or is he just a bishop like us? So this is because at the workplace, schools, colleges, universities, you should not be discussing deen on the dinner table. The Prophet says that you should be very careful from whom you get your deen from. This is when you are opening the doors to misguidance. And our Aslaf, they have warned us about this because the Quran and the Hadith warns us. And it's not that because time will not permit me to quote all of these verses of the Quran. Because I think we have to finish on Maghrib. Another ayat towards the end of Surah Al-Mujadala, it says that there are people out there, استعوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله أولئك حزب الشيطان ألا إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرون إن الذين يحادون الله ورسوله أولئك في الأضلين. Those people who oppose Allah and His Rasul, they are the most disgraced. Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that in the Quran. And then He promotes those people who sever ties with people who are bad aqidah. And there are 7 gifts for those people. Allah has impressed on their hearts Iman. And He strengthens them with His rahmah. And they will enter paradise wherein they shall remain forever. They have been referred to as the party of Allah. Yani Allah ki wo party hai, Allah ka giroh hai. They are the group of Allah. And they are successful. Those people who love for the sake of Allah and hate for the sake of Allah. Because the Hadith Pak says, Man ahabba lillahi, whoever loves for the sake of Allah and has hatred for the sake of Allah, which proves that you are supposed to have hatred. But for the sake of Allah, not for your own nafs. Hazrat Ali did not used to hate for his nafs. And once he was in the middle of a battle, when the kafir spat at his face, he was about to slay him, sever his head from his body, but he left it. When they asked, the kafir asked, why did you not kill me? Although I spat in your face. He said, because my own nafs became involved and I do not do anything from my nafs. I am selfless. Whatever I do for deen. I do for deen, I do for Allah Azza wa Jal. This is loving for the sake of Allah, hating for the sake of Allah. So that made that person accept Islam. So Islam spread not by killing the kafir, but by killing the kufr. By killing the kufr, this is how Islam spread. So whoever loves for the sake of Allah, hates for the sake of Allah, and gives for the sake of Allah, وَأَعْطَى لِلَّهِ وَمَنَعَ لِلَّهِ, and whoever withholds for the sake of Allah, فَقَدْ اسْتَكْمَلَ الْإِيمَانِ, then his iman is complete. And we are saying that we are spreading hatred. This is contrary to Islam. Allah didn't do that. The Prophet didn't do that. Allah refers to the munafiqs as shaitan. He says, وَإِذَا خَلَوْا إِلَى شَيَاطِينِهِمْ. He refers to them as fools. He refers to them as zalimun. He refers to the kuffar as kafirun. Yeah? He has written a whole surah in condemnation and exposure to the hypocrites. The Quran says a whole surah has been revealed, Surah Al-Munafiqun. What will these people say? وَسُلَيْقُلْ about these surahs. What will they say about the Prophet ﷺ, where he has also said that whoever sees an evil being done amongst you, then he should stop it with his hands. Those people who are servants of deen, they must do that. They are in a position of authority. And each and every one of you, as a parent or as a teacher, has this role. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَاعِيَتِهِ. Each and every one of you is like a ruler, and he will be questioned about his ri'ayah upon whom he ruled. So, we are supposed to condemn evil when we see it. Especially if it is an evil belief, it must be condemned. It deserves condemnation. It does not deserve to be approved. Yeah? Because when you're not condemning it, you are endorsing it. By condoning it, you are advocating that belief. And this is not the way of Islam. This is not the way of the Quran. This is not the way of Rasulullah, but this is the way of the munafiqs. This is the way of the hypocrites. So the Prophet said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, fa in lam yastati' fa bilisanihi." If he cannot stop it with his hand, then he should at least condemn it with his tongue. Fa in lam yastati', then fa biqalbihi. Then if he cannot do it with his tongue, then he should at least say it is evil from his heart. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. That is the lowest level of iman. What time is your Maghrib Salah? So this is what Hazrat Ali has left for us, and there are many other sayings of Hazrat Ali, but I wanted to talk more about Aqidah, because it is extremely important, because Aqidah, it is the foundation upon which you build your deeds. And if the foundation is shaky, then everything that you are going to build on it, it is going to fall, it's going to topple over. So it is of paramount importance that we hold correct beliefs, and those beliefs that we hold, in order to preserve those beliefs, in order to protect those beliefs, and in order to not lose those beliefs, we must protect them from becoming robbed from the misguided people. And I will finish on a share by Hazrat Azim al-Barkat, where he says, in order to promote this belief, he says, "Unhe jana, unhe mana." After you believed in Rasulullah after you knew him, then you believed in him. Unhe pehle jaan liya, phir maan liya. Unhe jana, unhe mana. Aage Imam Ahl Sunnat kya kehte hain? Because he is our Imam, we are his muqtadis, we should believe in him. He is Imam of all of the Ahl Sunnah in aqaid. So unhe jana, unhe mana. After जानने के बाद उन्हें मान लिया, फिर वो क्या फरमाते हैं? ना रखा गैर से काम. And all those people who are non-Ahl Sunnah, वो सब गैर हैं, according to Imam Ahl Sunnah's understanding. Yes, invite them to accept Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the correct version. But don't go around discussing your deen and mixing with them freely so that you lose your own iman. Then he says, after you have, if you start to live according to this formula, then lillahi alhamd, main dunya se Musliman gaya. Jab hi aapka iman bach sakega. Otherwise your iman, it is being exposed to danger. And your iman is even more important than your body. To protect your body, it is more important to protect your iman, because your iman, it will be intact when your body will have been destroyed by the earth. And your iman will even go with you. If you ended up, na'udhu-billah, in hell, your iman will go with you in hell, and it will take you out from hell, and it will not rest until you get into Jannah. So you must protect your iman. As a servant of deen, this is my duty to deliver Islam to you in the best way possible and to be sincere. I will end by saying these couplets that he pays tribute to Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhahu. Murtada Sher Haq Ashja'ul Ashja'een. बाबे फजले विलायत पे लाखों सलाम, शेरे शमशीर जन शाहे खैबर शिकन, परतबे दस्ते कुदरत पे लाखों सलाम. We pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla that He gives us the ability to believe as Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhahu believed, and to also become a practicing, obedient Muslim as was Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhahu. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.